What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Montreal Canadiens franchise mode. You're here with your favorite GM, Frosty Blizzard. And today we're going to just, we're going to pick up where we left off. The Habs right now sitting in a wild card spot. They are 15-10 on the season. It's looking pretty good. Obviously, if we take a look at the Metro, we've got the Rangers and the Devils hot on our heels. But like we said, if we lose 2 and they win 2, then obviously they can catch us. But, we're looking pretty good right now. Thomas Tatar leading the squad still, and then followed right behind him by Nick Suzuki. They're tied, both scoring 10 and 11 goals, 24 and 25 assists. So they're playing really well together. And then we've got Brendan Gallagher, who's also got 10 goals. Johnny Drew's got 10 goals as well, but he's a little further down. He's got 17 points. The team, I feel like they're pretty good. Like, we've got a solid lineup right now. Everyone seems to be clicking. So we've got Johnny Drew up on the top line with Dano, Gallagher, Tatar, Suzuki, Anderson. So Tatar and Suzuki, really the front runners for that second line, doing really the most points for us. And obviously Josh Anderson kind of lagging behind there. Doesn't really have as many points as the rest of them. Then we have Arturi Lehkonen, Kotkaniemi, Armia, Hudon, Byron, and Wheel. And then afterwards on the D, we've got Edmondson, Weber, Sherratt, Petrie, Kulak, and Fleury. And obviously I read some of your comments. I know that we could use a left-handed defenseman. So eventually we're definitely trying to take a look for a left-handed defenseman and just, see if we can add one to the squad. That'll be the most important part to really shore up our team and get us going. Obviously, for our goaltending situation, we're looking pretty good with Carey Price and Jake Allen. And obviously, shout out to Morsa, who wants me to put Charlie Lindgren in. Charlie Lindgren is up with the team, but he'll more than likely not see any action. Sorry, buddy. So, we're going to go, as we usually do, we sim through a month at a time. I think today what we'll do is we'll go up to the trade deadline, and I'll keep the trade deadline for another video. So my plan there is, since the trade deadline is kind of a bigger thing, we're going to decline on Jared Spurgeon because he's a right-handed defenseman. But since the trade deadline is a bit of a bigger situation, wow, those are our first 2 overtime losses of the season. Nicholas Jalmerson, that's not bad, and Christian Fischer. This could be interesting. However, I think at the date we currently are, we wouldn't be able to sign Christian Fischer. But this could, I think he has some potential upside to him. Seems like a very, very good potential player. Currently sitting as a third line scoring forward. Now, obviously, Paling is also a very good potential forward for us. He is 21. Fischer's 23. He's a little bit more NHL ready. And then Nicholas Halmerson. So we did want a top left D. So he would really come in and help us out. And he's not on a bad contract, considering, 4.8 for a top 4 defenseman is pretty good. But losing Cale Fleury is going to be a tough pill to swallow, because in the coming years we've got Shea Weber, who could potentially retire, and that would be a good right defenseman, obviously, if his growth is there to come in. So this is a tough trade to accept, but what we'll do is we'll keep it on the back burner. We'll keep it as a potential, this could be a good trade, and for now we'll say no. And then we'll take a look at maybe at a later date whether or not. We could always circle back at the trade deadline and see whether or not this could be a viable trade for us. Ooh, 2 tough losses there for the Canadiens. Oh, now we're on a losing skid here. Oh, 4 games. All right, so they really want to get rid of Christian Fischer. Let me take a look at No, we're already past December 1st, so we wouldn't even be able to sign them. Gus and Foligno, no, I'm okay there. We don't need to accept that. We're still sitting in a wild card spot after losing 4 games in a row there. Oh my god, now we're up to 6. Oof. Alright, we broke the skid at the end there against Dallas, but a 6-game losing streak at the end of December, that could prove costly for us because we were 20-10 before hitting that skid. So we were really in a good spot before hitting that section. Things you hate to see. Suzuki's still running the squad. He's got 46 points now. That's actually pretty good for us as he continues to. I'm looking at him being a point per game player at the end. Tatar hasn't lost his pace. He's at 43 points. They're no longer tied, but they're still doing great. Josh Anderson from that line is starting to pick up. So we got Brendan Gallagher, who's on our top line, scoring good potential points there. I'm wondering whether or not we should bring Suzuki and Tatar up to that first line. But at the same time, Johnny Giroux is doing okay. And where's our Philippe Danault? Not getting those first line points, but you know, at the same time is a plus-minus of 7. So you know, can't hate it. He's doing good defensively on that first line. So we'll take it. I mean, his minutes are there. Face-offs won. He's doing actually really well as a center. So is Jordan Wheel, and Anderson's interesting at center too. He's doing pretty well. Lekinen Hudo, and then we've got Suzuki and Kakanyemi, who are pretty far down the depth chart, especially being our main centers for the squad. Kind of interesting to see. We want to hop over here just quickly to the goalies here. So Carey Price, 16 and 3. Save percentage and goals against are a little hurting, but listen, we're sitting in the wild card spot. At least Jake Allen, 3-0, keeping us in it. He's also come in relief, I think, 3 times there. So kind of interesting to see how much Carey Price has played this season. I don't know. Seems like he's got a lot of ice time, and I think we're pretty close to the trade deadline. So we're gonna go the 1 more month, and then obviously we'll get through February to do the trade deadline in the next episode. That way we can just see how the team is gonna hold up at the trade deadline. We might become sellers because look at that, another 4-game losing streak, and we're out of a wild card spot. We're on 5-game losing streak. This team just lost it for us in the back half of December and the beginning of January. All right, so now we're being offered Guryanov, which is actually quite an interesting trade because he's considered an elite forward at 83 overall. Second line could be good for us. I mean, this is very interesting coming out of Dallas, and they want Ryan Poehling. So it'll be interesting to see if we trade Poehling here, what down the line he becomes as an overall. Because if we accept Guryanov right now, who's 23 years old, he's got about maybe 3 years left, I think, to grow. Same thing with Poehling. He's got about 4 years left. So we're taking on a year. And unfortunately, Guryanov, though, we cannot sign him this year. So he will not play with us if we accept this trade. Now, when it comes to draft picks, I think right now we've got a lot of 4th rounders. If I'm not mistaken, these are actually next year's picks. So these are in a couple years. They're not this year's draft picks. So actually kind of interesting. Now, what I may want to do here, does Dallas have their 3rd round this year? And is it about roughly the same? It's a little bit more this year. I'd like to see whether or not they'll accept the trade now, eh? So they don't want to get rid of that one. And what if we did... We have Chicago's pick as well. We'll just take a quick look here if we can just see if we can get some picks this year. But otherwise, we'll keep it as... You know, we'll just keep it as is, and I think I'm going to accept this trade. I feel like this is a good trade for us. All right, let's take the trade and welcome Guryanov to the team. And unfortunately, like I said, he won't be able to play in our upcoming season here because he doesn't have a contract, and we're past December 1st. And we're gonna do best lines here for this Rockets of Laval team. So, an interesting pickup for the team. Guryanov could be really good for us next year. And this team is playing 500 hockey right now, and they're not doing good enough to make it to the playoffs. We're a bubble team. We're 4 points out from what I saw there. Now 5 points out. So I think at the deadline, we're just gonna go up straight to it here. And I think today in our next episode at the deadline, we're just gonna become sellers because this team is just, they've lost every potential possibility of making it any further. Vince Dunn is an interesting pickup. I'm not a fan of having to take on Jaden SCHWARTZ. He's got 1 year left though, so that's not terrible. But we're losing 2 young defensemen here, and I don't feel like Vince Dunn is that worth it to lose 2 young defensemen and then also take on Jaden SCHWARTZ. No, we already took on Guryanov as a second line potential. I don't think we need... We're pretty good for our second line. I think we're looking more for maybe bottom guys. And we're going to decline this trade out of Toronto because we don't trade with Toronto. Who trades with Toronto? All right. I mean, there's a bounce back. We got 5 wins on our last 6 games, and now the winning streak seems to be continuing. And there's a loss. All right, so now we're all right. Now it's hard to say what we're gonna do. Nick Suzuki continuing on his storm here. He's got 65 points in 62 games from what I saw. But now the Canadiens are 1 point out of a playoff spot. The Boston Bruins sitting ahead of us, 68 points. And the Atlantic is still holding on to that division 2 wildcard spots. Flyers are right behind us. They're 2 points behind us and 3 points behind the wildcard spot. And Columbus is not far behind either. As we all know, anything in hockey can happen. Florida leading the division here. In the Central, we've got Colorado, Winnipeg, Mini. Then we've got Nashville, Chicago in the bubble spots. Then we have Edmonton, Anaheim, Vancouver. Vegas coming up behind. Can be interesting. And obviously leading the league just to see here. Pittsburgh Penguins, 83 points. That's actually really good. Now, for our Canadiens. Nick Suzuki obviously leading the charge here. He's got 65 points in 62 games. Thomas Tatar is no longer a point per game player. He has dropped off. He's got 60 points in 62 games. So that's unfortunate that he has dropped off like that. Gallagher still holding strong. Has 51 points in 62 games. And then we've got Johnny Drew coming up right behind him there. He's got 42 points. So Johnny Drew's looking pretty good. Shea Weber, you know what, as a top defenseman, looking really good as well. And then the rest of the charge. It's kind of a big drop-off. We've got some guys with 30s, and then right off drops to Petrie, Kulak, Paul Byron on the bottom lines there. Edmondson, Sherrod, Fleury. So, you know, the boys are doing all right. Jake Allen still doing, you know, good numbers. 4-1-1. all right for a backup, but Carey Price, I think, has been where we've been hurting the most this year. Considering he's supposed to be an elite starter, 28, 25, and 4, realistically, it's just not good enough. I don't know what to say for Carey Price. I don't think we'll be sellers on the goaltending front because I think Carey Price still has some good years left in him. And that $10.5 million contract is going to be hard to swing. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, ladies and gents, our Canadians looked like they were doing well at the start of the episode, and it took really a turn for the worse. They had a 6-game losing streak and a 4-game losing streak. Those really hurt us. Those losing streaks at the end of December, at the beginning of January, really hurt us. And I don't know. We're going to look into what can be some good trades. Obviously, when we do the trade deadline, we're going to take a look if we can find some lefty Ds that could be clutch for us right away. And who knows, maybe Guryanov that we just picked up doesn't even make it to the team. Maybe we trade him off right away, pick up a left-handed defenseman that could really shore up our defenseman there. Because, oof, kind of hurting to see how this episode went. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Obviously, click like if you did. Leave a comment to see who we could pick up. Obviously, you franchise guys who do know the mode, let me know who you think we could pick up and make our defensemen stronger. I think at forward we're looking really good. I don't hate the look because our forwards are scoring points. It seems to be our defensemen and Carey Price who are struggling, obviously, to get us the games we need to win. So, we're gonna get there. If you want to see more content, guys, make sure to check the description. We have our Twitch. We are live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If ever you want to watch more Frosty Blizzard content, come check us out on Twitch. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys in the next episode for the trade deadline. Bye-bye.